Good evening to all of you, and thank you for joining us on 13 Plus. I'm Mary Coleman. Hope you're having a great Tuesday evening so far. Well, nearly 40 years after a body was found in Pinal County, a woman has finally been identified as the person who was killed. In this week's 13 Crime Files, we tell you why this finding was all thanks to the efforts of the Pinal County Office of the Medical Examiner.
And she was a homicide victim. And she was buried somewhat unceremoniously out in the dark part of the desert north of Florence.
In Pinal County on June 28, 1988, a woman's decomposing remains were found partially buried just west of US 79 and south of Florence Junction. At the time, authorities believed this Jane Doe was over 50 years old, about 5'3", with gray hair. Dentures were found with her remains, and she was wearing a floral dress. But for years, she had no identity, only known as the Florence Junction Clandestine Grave Jane Doe, 1988.
That would be enough just to give a Jane Doe back her name. But a case like this, a homicide, it takes on added importance, because before the Pinal County Sheriff's Office knew who she was, they couldn't look for the perpetrator or perpetrators.
But in 2003, everything would change when Dr. Bruce Anderson, forensic anthropologist with the Office of the Pima County Medical Examiner, brought the case to the DNA Doe Project with hopes that they might be able to find out her identity with genetic genealogy. After bone samples from the remains were processed to produce a DNA profile, it took a team of expert investigative genetic genealogists just hours to find the victim's branch of the family tree.
My first reaction was, I don't believe you could have gotten her name this quickly after 35 years of us looking at NamUs, looking at the law enforcement's NCIC missing persons reports, never getting a call from a family member or a friend that wondered what ever happened to her. So my first reaction was disbelief. And then I was all smiles for a day, I think. I was smiling all day long.
And just days ago, that information was made public, giving the Jane Doe a name: Evelyn Dottie Lees. She was born in 1898 in Utah and was living in Scottsdale before her disappearance. Her father was British, and her DNA relatives were spread across a broad geographic area all over the world. But even though distant relatives, the team found connections to Dottie immediately. While it's great news that Dottie has been identified, there's more work to be done.
And now law enforcement can do their job. And part of that job is to try to find out who murdered Dottie. And hopefully they can. And hopefully we can not only close the book on her identification, but the Pinal County Prosecutor's Office can perhaps close the book on the perpetrators of this homicide.
And we'll have much more on this story coming up on 13 News Live at 10. To our next story now, a new study finds Americans plan to spend about $17 billion more on gifts this holiday season. So how do you keep from going into too much debt? In this Consumer Investigates, Rachel DePompa gets some advice for you from a financial expert.
Many are opening their wallets this holiday season, and according to a new NerdWallet survey, people say they plan to spend around $925 on gifts for friends and loved ones. Kim Palmer, a personal finance expert with NerdWallet, says many admit they will turn to credit cards, loans, and buy now, pay later to pay for gifts this year. She says Americans love to feel festive, but it can lead to overspending if you're not careful.
So we found actually that around 10% of gift shoppers, holiday shoppers, said that they're actually going to turn to their emergency savings to fund some of their gift purchases. And 9% said that they're going to use the money that would have gone to their monthly bill spending, and they're going to put that towards gift purchases.
Palmer says you want to leave that emergency savings untouched if at all possible. She says instead, make a list of everyone you are buying for, what you are buying, and how much that item could cost. Then start hunting for sales and deals. Comparison shop. Start early and spread your spending out over several paychecks.
So you just want to make sure that you are being organized so you can stay on track. And where we tend to get into trouble is unexpected or unplanned purchases when we're shopping in the store and we get a little bit carried away. So that's why having a list ahead of time can help us avoid doing that.
Listen to this. The survey found 3 in 10 gift shoppers say they're still paying off holiday debt from last year. This is a good reminder to scale back. Talk to family and friends about ways you can spend a little less this year. With this Watching Your Wallet, I'm Rachel DePompa.
Well, friends, we will leave you with a live look from our Mount Bigelow cam, where things are very cool out there. Not sure if you've been outside in the last couple hours, but it's kind of chilly, dare I say. We hope you'll join us for 13 News Live at 10 for more of your news and weather. But until then, have a great evening.